Okay, so today I'm going to go through replacing the inner grille and the inserts on a 2020 Jeep Compass. I didn't see any videos out there for this. It's doable. It just takes a few minutes. So we went to the movie the other night, and somebody threw an egg out of their vehicle as we were driving by and took out our inner grille. So the inner grille is, of course, inside the outer grille. There's 7 holes through here that the inserts go into, and the inserts are kind of hard to get out. You have to make sure that when you're prying back there that you don't break them, and that you're also prying the right direction. There's 7 of the inserts right there, and then there's 2 pans that you're going to have to take off the top of the motor. One has got the prop rod for the hood, and the other one has got the locking mechanism and the hood light switch on it. They're both easy to get off. That's the easy part. The harder part is getting down in and getting all the screws out on the bottom. Now I'm starting this a little backwards because I was looking online and didn't find a video to do this. And it's kind of a daunting task. It takes a little bit to, get it figured out. So now I have the new insert, or the new inner grille cover. So I'm going to slide that into place here. That just goes in behind here. You just have to pull out on everything a little bit to get that to go in there. And once I drop that in, it should go fairly quick getting this done. Okay, so I slid this back behind there. And when you do that, there's a few shorter tabs here, but there's also a couple longer tabs. And you have to kind of push back on this and pull out on that to get them in place. There's like 3 of them. And then once you get that into place, then you'll just kind of snap it into place. Those tabs, there's one on the end down here, one on the top, bottom, top, bottom, all the way through here. Once those are snapped in, then you're ready to start putting the inserts in. So as you're putting this back together, there's longer tabs up here on the top, right here. And you're going to have to push this back and get those tabs in place before it'll lock into place. So basically, you push down on that tab, the longer one, and then once it's in place, you'll be able to just push that in place and lock it in. It just comes through, and there's tabs all the way across the top and then along the side that will lock in place also. Some of the handiest tools I have out here is I have a small pry bar. This worked really well for taking the inserts out once you get the lock, because could you get underneath there and you could pull them out. Another piece is a small screwdriver. You want to have something small that would go in beside the inserts because they lock in right inside here. So you'll kind of pry and you'll push that and unlock them, and then you'll have to take that pry bar and get that out. Another tool that came in handy was a small magnet, because inevitably something ends up down in there. You drop it, and having a small magnet makes it real easy to retrieve it. Now I'm going to go through and lock in all of those tabs all the way across here so that the insert, or the back, the inner grille cover, will be locked in place, and then we can start putting the inserts in. Okay, so I've got all the inserts pushed back in. There's 3 on the end down there, and you can kind of see how they're locked back into place. They go all the way along the front, top and bottom. It takes a little bit of pressure to get those locked back in across the top so that they snap into place. It's not that bad, but you got to make sure that when you're done that all of these are in place. They're lined up around the outside edge and they're flush, so they kind of look like that. and then we'll start putting the inserts in. So the inserts are kind of angled. Each one has just a little bit more of an angle as you go from the center, which is pretty much a rectangle. They go out. So if you kind of get them out of order or something, you lay them down, it's pretty easy to tell which one goes where. The end one's going to have considerably more angle than the ones going down the line on both sides. Now they are locked in on the back side by a tab. The tab is right here. When you go to unlock them, as you're taking them out, you're going to take and put your screwdriver on the back side, and you're going to pry it towards the outside. You're going to put it in, and then you're going to be on the outside of the lens. So right now you can kind of see where that tab is down in there. You're going to have to put your screwdriver, when you take them out, on the outside. Kind of hard to get a good view of this. I should have done it outside. But you're going to put it on the outside of the edge here, and there's a tab that you're pushing outward. So you're going to put the screwdriver in on the outside of the tab. You're going to pry it in like this, and then you're going to take that pry bar and pop it out. And it takes a little bit. You have to kind of work it around a little bit. You can't just do one and then pop it out. You got to kind of do a couple of them, start it out, bring it around, and then the bottom one comes out most of the time. Sometimes you do have to get the screwdriver down in there, but the bottom one, when you pull the top out, will come out and release it. Okay, for me, the hardest part of this whole process was just determining which way you had to do this tab. So you're going to put the screwdriver in, like I said, like this. You're going to kind of see the tab in there, I hope. And you're going to push it inward, and that releases that tab. So you got to push it in like that. And then on the front side, you're going to pull out that grill with that pry bar. Only got one hand here. So that was the hardest part. The rest of this whole process actually went really quick. Taking the top covers off, getting everything else in place. The hardest part was just knowing that, yes, you can snap this insert out without damaging it and get it back in place. That was why I'm making this video, because it took me a little bit to figure that out. Which way you had to pry it. There's different sites that show different things for different vehicles, but this one is a little different that way. Now I'm going to pop all these in. I'm going to take a few minutes. I kind of sprayed down here and cleaned this all out. Hopefully this will be the last time I have this out, and then I'm going to go around all the rings or the inserts and take and clean them out, wax them up and stuff quick. Okay, now when you're reassembling it, again, these are proportionally set off, but also the tab on the top of these are off on different sides, so you got to make sure you get those locked into place correctly. And you have to remember that these insert rings actually connect the outer and the inner grill, so you have to take these off to change this inner one. You have to. Okay, so again, those tabs are right here. There's one there, there's one down here, there's one over on this side, and there's also one on the top up here that you have to get all four of them. And like I said, the easiest way to do it that I found was doing the top one and then going down one of the sides, and as you get this pried out just a little bit with that pry bar, it'll separate a little bit. It kind of pulls out a little bit hard, but it doesn't break anything. And then you can pull that one out, and then the bottom one comes out fairly easy. So when you go to snap the rings back in, you just set them in place, and they just kind of push in, and then they'll lock back into place. You can hear them kind of snap in as they go past those tabs, and they just lock in. Okay, so I've got all the inserts in. I'm kind of just verifying that all the tabs are sticking through, all four on all of them, so that I know that they're in place. Now the hardest screws on this inner grill cover are the four down here at the bottom. And they're kind of down inside, right in front of the radiator. And I have a 9/32 socket that I've been using to take them on and off. And you can kind of see it down in there, right down there at the bottom. So I'm going to set them in place. There's one there, one in the middle. And you can kind of move this a little bit to get down in there to see that one. And then one on the other side and one on the other end. So I've got that in place down there, right there, 9/32. It takes a little bit to get it in there, but it's not too bad. You can reach down with your hand. These I'm only hand tightening because when I want to take them out, I loosen them with my fingers. So I'm tightening them finger tight again because it's just going into that bumper cover. So you can kind of see down in there where I'm getting that down. Just threading it in there, and I'll grab the socket here in a moment, and I'll just snug that down with my finger. Okay, I got those screws in. Now really all that's left is the covers. There's the one that has the hood light and the hood stuff on it and the release, and that one's just going to come back in here. It's going to drop down underneath, and these screw holes are going to get put down in there underneath. I'm going to hook up the light switch first, the hood switch, and then snap this back into place. This just comes loose right here, just locks into place. Kind of hook it down in, lock it in place. And the hood switch is going to go back in its spot over here, get the wire up here, lock that in. That shouldn't take very long, just a couple minutes. The whole process, the longest thing of the whole thing is taking those inserts out. Now again, this is still movable, so you could kind of pull that and get that into place, drop that down in, and then you'll see your screw holes all match up along the bottom and on the back side. And then this just has to be locked in place, and then you can put screws in. And there we go, that's all in place. The last cover that goes on here is right here, and that's just basically got a couple of screws on the back side, and then it's got push tabs holding it in place. So right now I'm going to put in these front screws across here. These are a Torx drive. There's 6 of them in total, and you want to be sure that you don't over tighten any of these things because this is just, you know, plastic basically. You don't want to crack it after you just got done repairing it. When you pull this apart, on the inner grill cover, there's a longer screw on this outside that tab that's right here that you have to make sure you keep separate. That'll go into there. You know, there's 6 of these screws across the front, the push tabs on the end down here, these 2, and then there's 4 that go back onto the other cover. Now on this screw right here, this bolt, I believe this is an adjustment so you can adjust this so it's flush. If you turn that different ways, you can pull this back or push it forward. I'm thinking that's what it was. I don't know for sure, but I did not turn that. Everything looks really nice and flush here, so I'm going to go ahead and put it together. And like I said, the hood latch basically is going to just go in, drop down in, and then it's going to clip into place. So just drop that down in there and then push it in. And now it's locked. These tabs here kind of lock it in, and then there's latches underneath. Then put the cable back underneath the holder, and you're ready to go again. Now the next cover, this is the last one. You just have to kind of work it in there, set it in place, and it does go underneath on the ends here, so you just kind of got to bend that down and put that underneath on both ends. There we go. And then you're going to have your push tabs here, and then there's a few bolts on the back side. And that's all. I hope this helps. The big thing, like I said, the inserts is what was kicking my butt. And by having, that you got to put the screwdriver back on the outside of the tab and then push that tab inward, it'll help you to pull those out. Good luck, and we'll catch you next time.